Moving on, obviously, you're doing some fill-in stuff for Accept later this year in South America and Europe, and it's interesting how that came about. It was almost really a perfect storm because Michael Cardelloni hits you up, of course, from Damn Yankees and Leonard Skinner. He reaches out to you, says, "Hey, I'm with Wolf Hoffman. He needs another guitarist." I told him I have the guy, and then Wolf wants to meet up with you, and he lives in Nashville. At the time, you're out with TSO, coincidentally going to be playing in Nashville, I think, just a couple of days later. So it really, I mean, it's almost as if it was meant to be in a way.
Yeah, it all clicked. It happened so quickly, you know. And Wolf is just a real bright, sharp, you know, super friendly guy, as well as being a great player. And it, you know, sometimes you have people make those intros. He connected us. First, Michael hit me and said, "Hey, I'm with Wolf Hoffman," and then sometimes the next thing is like, well, I'll connect you guys via text, and maybe that means a week later, or maybe that means 2 weeks later or something by email or whatever. But it was like literally 5 minutes later, or, you know, not even. It was like a minute later. He said, "Okay, Wolf, here's Joel, you know, Joel Wolf." And Wolf was like, "Great, you know," and blah, blah, blah. I said, "Well, I'm in Nashville in a couple of days. Let's have coffee." And, you know, so, I mean, it was like, we ended up, it was like 2 days later or something like that, that we were all set and ready to go with this, because it made sense for both of us. They needed somebody to fill in for Phil Shouse, and I needed something to get out this year and you know, play some of the bigger shows, be able to do the European festivals, and you know, they're a great live band. They sound great. You know, Wolf is a great guitarist and killer tone, and you know, they're a well-oiled machine live. I mean, that's all the YouTube footage I've been watching is very impressive, and I'm looking forward to being a part of it. It's just going to be, I think, something that's good for everybody. It's you know, kind of a fun little window for the fans to see me hop in and play with them, and it works out great for me because I, you know, would obviously prefer that to sitting on my couch at home or something like that. Sure. So, or for that matter, playing smaller shows. So having the opportunity to get out and, you know, be seen and play with a great sounding live band like Accept is, yeah, like you said, it makes a lot of sense, and just worked out great, like it was meant to be in a way.
You know, you said a few minutes ago, obviously Whitesnake is on a bit of a hiatus, but do you still check with David Coverdale when these other opportunities come up and try to clear any commitments like with him? And, you know, hey, I might have this thing coming up where you want to do something, blah, blah, blah. Yeah,
absolutely. All the time. David and I, you know, he's big on clarity. So I appreciate that very much. And I think that's, you know, a lot of times where things go awry with relationships and bands, you know, just being like very professional about things. So I'm always checking in with David about what's happening and like, look, you know, this is what's coming down, and, you know, how do you feel about this? I think we could, you know, I think certainly under the circumstances of it not being I'm quitting Whitesnake to join Accept, but just merely filling in, you know, there's that's nothing that ruffles David's feathers. It's been quite the opposite. I mean, he's being very supportive, and like, that's fantastic. You know, I'm happy for you. And, you know, he's somebody that I keep in touch with on a regular basis. David and I are in constant contact, and I did go out and spend some time with him last year and work on some box set stuff with him. And there might be some more of that this year. So it's not like we're not still active in some capacity, and you know, whatever his vision is and what he wants to do with Whitesnake, I'd like to remain a part of that. And I think, as he put it in one of the texts, he said, "I value us," and I said, "I value us too, man." You know, like he's been fantastic to me, and I have you know, I don't want to be presumptuous, but like a nice friendship with him as well, in addition to just merely, you know, working for him. We get along really well. I have a lot of respect for David, and I think that's all he was ever really looking for upon me joining the band, is just somebody who showed the proper respect to the Whitesnake brand, represented it properly, and you know, didn't have any delusions of grandeur or, you know, overstepped their bounds or acted in any way unprofessional. And so I've understood like how to do my best for him. And he's been fantastic to me.
Well, one more thing on Accept before we move on. I know a couple of weeks ago, this was still sort of up in the air and undecided. But since both yourself and Accept will be on the Monsters of Rock cruise here in about a month or so, will you be playing with them at all during that, or is that still sort of being figured out?
I think we're going to take the opportunity for me to just watch the show twice, and I'll have the in-ear pack so I can listen to the guitarists. Phil will be on the cruise playing with them, and it gives me an opportunity to listen to his mix in my in-ears and watch them do the show. You know, there are staging things that happen with Accept where, you know, and with all bands really for that matter, where you have to be in a certain spot for a certain solo or certain spot for a certain song, you know, cross the stage, you know, go to this spot for this song. And it gives me an opportunity to, you know, I'm gonna roll like on their gear to have things remain consistent and play the famous V's that they play as a band, and you know, use the Kempers that they play through, and so it gives me an opportunity to get familiar with the gear a bit. I think that, you know, maybe having me step out for a song or something like that on Monsters of Rock cruise, the cruises are not always the best as far as, like, you know, getting a nice long sound check and things like that, because there's lots of things happening, and God forbid anything for that one song was not ideal. That probably wouldn't be the greatest thing for, you know, the world we live in with social media and everything, to be like, you know, this is the first appearance. So I think we're gonna keep the curtain down until South America on that, and just use that as like a learning ground for myself, just to be able to familiarize myself with their show.